Welcome back to Persephone Says. Today, we are going to talk about how to speak to rich people. Yes, in 2026, I'm going to do my best to retire the word luxury as much as I possibly can. And I've done some homework for you so that you don't have to do it and you can take all of these notes and apply them accordingly as you are manipulating and adjusting and fine-tuning your brand. So I really want you to think about it like this. I think we are exhausted by that word. Obviously, it's been overused, but it is an aesthetic. Luxury is an aesthetic. Wealth is behavioral. And if you feel like you are auditioning for a client, you are instantly disqualified when speaking to an affluent audience. So today I'm going to talk to you and share some notes specifically on how to speak to these clients without sounding desperate and why discounting repels rich people, frankly, and how to shift from selling to leading your clients. So this one is going to be filled with notes that you're going to want to take and share this episode with all those who you think it could help. Now, you've heard me have so many conversations. If you aren't new here on luxury, it has been flattened to beige branding, serif fonts, mood boards, and buzzwords. And so affluent clients aren't wanting to buy luxury. What they want to buy is outcomes. They want to buy discretion, confidence, and access. That is a huge mindset shift, right? If we're speaking to a true affluent audience, or if you're wanting to speak to a true affluent audience. Wealthy buyers are not impressed by over-explaining, over-qualifying, or over-performing in a conversation whatsoever. That isn't interesting. I actually had an example of this that I realize now in hindsight. I had a meeting with a very big hospitality group and we did a phenomenal job, but I think it was too performative for who we were speaking to. And for me, I wanted to differentiate us in that moment. But now upon reflection, it was doing too much when it could have been more effortless. I was just trying to, again, have us stand out in the crowd, but that wasn't really the move and not what they were looking for, even though every other box was checked. So again, this happens to the best of us. And what I want you to really reframe or want you to take away as a main reframe is this. Stop trying to convince people who already know what excellence looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like. And so this is how I want you to shift things. This is what I want you to say when it comes to speaking to wealthy people. Our clients come to us when they want one decision made correctly the first time. It's a quiet confidence. It is less is more approach. That is way cooler, way more effortless, and that is really what's going to move the needle for you. The truth is you cannot be selling to this specific group. The higher the price point, the less explanation is required. And you're like, but what? No, less explanation is required because they already understand. So you need to be giving them access or saving them time, and you cannot be pitching yourself. It's less about emotional labor, and it's more about curating the experience. I'm going to give you, again, a bunch of different examples that I put together here so that you can understand the difference. This is speaking to someone who wants to operate within luxury, and I'm going to differentiate luxury from affluence, okay? Here's luxury. I'd love to tell you more about our services and see if we're a good fit. Here is affluence. Here's how clients typically work with us when this matters. Here's luxury. Let me know if you'd like to move forward. Here's affluence. Once we open a spot, onboarding begins within 7 days. The difference here is that rich people do not want to be persuaded. They want to be selected into a system. They want to feel a sense of belonging. Mind-blowing, but this is all psychology, right? It makes so much sense, but sometimes I think that the internet and social media has got us down a vortex of really clouding the difference between the two. And there is a significant difference. And so this year, I really want us to double down on, if you want to be speaking to this audience, this is how to speak to them. Like no shade. But if you want to be speaking to this audience, this is how you're going to speak to them. And it's completely different. When you are speaking to an affluent buyer, value is actually created for that buyer. So there's two different value levers that need to matter. I keep saying this. Access. So how do you express that when you're talking to this type of buyer? Through your expertise, your judgment, your network, your taste. Because wealthy clients will pay to skip a line, for you to pick up the phone and make a call, to avoid trial and error. That is a huge point of differentiation, okay? It's about being inside the room, not outside guessing. The second piece of this, the second lever, is time saved. Time is scarce for rich people. So they are buying fewer decisions, faster clarity, less friction. And if you are saving them time and they can trust that you can help them make decisions faster, better, sharper, then you don't need to be justifying your price. You just need to be framing out your role and how you're going to accomplish that. Okay, so here, once again, I'm going to give you specific examples. So here is, if you're speaking to a luxury audience, you'll have direct access to me throughout the process. It's fine. It's just one group of people. If you're speaking to an affluent group of people, clients work directly with me because decisions move faster when there's one authority in the room. That is a completely different, more powerful way of saying something. Another way of saying it is, we limit the number of clients we take on so execution doesn't get diluted. Beautiful, brilliant. Like, that is something that we have moved to within my own company. Again, upon reflecting on what are the things that maybe we did and we did it just too much. We were giving away too much, where our ideal client actually is coming to us because they trust our authority and perspective and ability to take their brands to a different level. Now, this might feel counterintuitive to you, but there needs to be a lot of assumptive language, because how premium people actually speak is totally different. They are identity shopping. They are not price shopping. Think about that. They're identity shopping. They're not price shopping. So when you're talking to an affluent client, they're buying alignment. They are not buying deals. They are asking, is this for people like me? Not, is this affordable? Those are the questions that are going through their mind. So this is something that you need to assume. You need to assume that they can afford your service. You need to assume that they understand the quality of what they're getting by working with you, whether it's a service or a product. You also need to assume that they belong in the room and in the group. You need to assume the decision is about timing and not about money. When we're speaking to a true affluent group, it is not about money. It is about timing. Also, speed. How fast can you move? So here's some language shifts, again, that I want to give you. Would you like to move forward versus when would you like to begin? If this works for your budget versus this is how most of our clients structure this. Let me know if you're interested versus how long would you like access for? Totally different mindset. And it's just changing and shifting and finessing some words. And that will make all of the difference. So the key is not to ask if they want it. It's just when and for how long. Huge game changer. When we're speaking to this audience, an affluent audience, discounts will kill desire. I see this so often on social and even on people's websites that I'm told that people want to speak to this group of people, but the way things are worded, we're talking about deals, we're talking about just money in ways that don't feel elevated whatsoever. So when we are speaking to affluent people, I will say this again, money is the least valuable resource to wealthy people, period. So discount signaling to them psychologically is showing insecurity, lack of demand, the ability to negotiate standards. And rich people don't want deals or promotions. They don't need limited time offers. They're willing to pay for stability, consistency, and confidence in your pricing. And as a result of what they are buying, which is your decision making. So if you are offering discounts, you are speaking to the wrong motivation, period, the wrong buyer type, and subsequently the wrong audience. Now, if you want to talk about power positioning, you want to speak more like a peer versus a vendor, okay? More like a peer versus a vendor. So you want to be talking about expecting direction, clear boundaries, professional leadership, that you are not going to be chasing their approval, customizing your confidence, none of the above. You are setting the tone and you are leading the process and you're protecting your standards in the process. How many of us have compromised our prices or how we do things because we want to close that deal? I'll be the first one to say that I did that. And every time, and I've spoken about this before, it has fucked up something in my system. It has fucked up the deliverable and the outcome. That person is not our ideal client, period. And so sacrificing for a buck will always, and I understand sometimes we take things just because we need to pay the bills. No shade, but if you can, please don't do that because it's compromised employees. It creates chaos. There's just so many things that it creates as a result of you just not standing your ground. And again, if we're talking to this audience, that is not actually what we are selling. Couple last final takeaways for you on this piping hot episode is this: wealth does not want to be sold to. They want to feel understood. And so when you're speaking with fewer words, with more certainty, and with zero apology, that is how you are going to win. So if you want premium clients, stop sounding grateful that they showed up to begin with. And on that note, I hope you share this. Please follow and subscribe and share this with someone who you think would find this valuable. I appreciate you all. Until next time, see you soon. Bye.